Hello. How's it going, everybody? It's good to see you. It's good to see everyone. Uh, let me give a few shout outs. If I miss you, I'm sorry. Uh, Cherry, hello. Irish fan. Alberta White. Lori Barlow. Nicole Venditti. Sticky. Kara Schaffner. Louisiana Girl, what's up? Matarisa. Rock Solid Alibi. Sejai Tejai. Sejai Tejai. I feel sophisticated now that I said that. Christine Evans. Maria Wilcox. Pendar. Been seeing you in a lot of chats. Jackie Jude. Bobby Pin, hello. Jeremy M, what's up, dude? Kim Shepard, Gabby B. The Joy Catcher. Penelope Pitstop. Thank you for helping Ion Entertainment. Well, yeah, man, sorry, I'm still working out this computer here. I don't know what I just did there, but yeah, Ion Entertainment. I hope things work out for him. I don't think that he was aware that hello, the seven of us. Fatima L, hello, DW. I don't think that he was aware of the fact that you could actually appeal those and fight them. And so there's another creator that's been helping one of my mods. I don't know if he wants me to name him, so I'm not going to, but if he hears this, big shout out and a thank you to you for helping Cherry help Ion Entertainment. So I appreciate that. Gaelic Girl, welcome from Ireland. I love it. It's great. So yeah, so at least now he knows he can fight it. And it's people who are just striking people for like no reason. Now that's the thing is that's what this one's not about striking channels, but about one of the many things that these shitty channels do to other channels. And they when they go real life and then they call CPS, like that's never okay to do to anybody as far as I'm concerned. It's just really ridiculous. There's really no reason. Like I don't understand how people can get so at each other's throats over a crime case. Hey, Dumpster Clips. To get so serious about it. Now, if you're interfering with an investigation, I'm going to get serious about it. You know what I mean? I'm going to get really intense, but I'm not going to go real life. I'm not going to go and try to, find out where you live and you know what I mean? And, or call and have you swatted or have CPS come and do wellness checks on your children. You know what I mean? Like that can be traumatizing to a child. That can absolutely be traumatizing to a child. Now, so the title of this is why it's wrong to report people to CPS out of spite. And there's obvious reasons. Some of you are thinking, well, duh, we know it's wrong. But I'm going to explain to you, and I'm hoping to cover everything because it's a problem and it happens a lot. I think they did this to Kraken Cases, or they threatened to do it to Kraken Cases. And all Kraken Cases was doing was just saying, hey, I'm seeing possibilities that it wasn't Don or Candace. I'm not saying it wasn't, just saying there are possibilities regardless of what other people are trying to say. There's obvious, you know what I mean? It's so there's all kinds of things that, and then people People get their stupid little without because they're thinking, they're talking without thinking, and they get these stupid ideas in their head that and they're gonna just say whatever. What's up, Crude AF? It's good to see you, bud. And then they're just gonna say whatever. You know what I mean? They're just gonna say whatever that comes to their mind, and then when somebody goes, "Hey, wait a minute, that's irresponsible," and then responds in a responsible way, which is to disprove them, like Cam and Allie did, and they showed up to the Wells property and they showed a trail that wasn't that steep going and wasn't that long at all going to the main road. You could see the main road from the Wells property right by that school bus. You could see it clearly. Like there's a path where there's not even any trees to have to so it's perfectly possible that somebody could have came on that property. Nobody's saying that's exactly what happened. And then when they release things like this, in contrast to the wild, stupid fucking theories that some of these channels come up with that are not crime channels, and they act like they're investigators. So to me, that's just insane, man. And then what they do is they go and they call CPS because in their mind they think, oh, well, if they are defending a couple that obviously did something to their daughter, which is ridiculous because there's nothing obvious that indicates that at all. So then they think they justify these actions by going, oh, well, they must be horrible people. I can't believe they have kids. You know what? We're going to call CPS on them. What? Like, what? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you an article, okay? I want you guys to understand something, because besides the fact that it's traumatizing to the child to have some stranger come knock on your door, start asking a kid about his personal home life. Because everyone, I don't care how old you are, everyone feels weird when people start asking them personal questions. So imagine how much tougher it is for a child to have to process that, first of all. So you're being a fucking shithead when you're just not even considering the child. But more importantly, you're not considering other children. And this is what I'm going to do today is I'm going to explain how you're not considering other children. And I'm going to give a few examples. Okay. Now, let me go ahead and share something. I want to share a picture with you guys because I'm going to be reading an article about this little boy. And it's not going to be fun. Okay. Okay, guys, this is Thomas Valva, 8 years old, and he died of hypothermia after spending the night in an unheated garage at his father's Center Morich's home. So the tragic death of 8-year-old Thomas Valva in Center Morich's last month leaves the communities of Long Island in prolonged and profound grief, as some details of his cruel and unfold tearful eyes quickly turn to Suffolk County's Child Protective Services, an agency whose title defines its critical mission. But is CPS just be a small part at that of what failed young Thomas? CPS is a bureau within the Suffolk County Department of Social Services. Any credible report of the neglect or abuse of a child requires CPS to find and interview that child and others in that child's life and connect with the source of the report. If the report that prompts the CPS investigation proves accurate, the report is founded, quote unquote, and CPS caseworkers take steps to end the harm of the child suffer. To end the harm that the child suffers. Often, CPS will petition family court for an emergency order to remove the child for placement with others. CPS, in other instances, might keep the child with the custodians and formulate a service plan for them without court involvement, later petitioning the court to intervene if the custodians fail to cooperate with that plan and remove the child after all. In the case of young Thomas, it appears that CPS entered his and his family's lives amid his parents' court battle for divorce that started 4 years ago. Now, this article is from February of 2020 last year, or 2021, sorry. CPS sought and obtained a court order to place Thomas with his biological father and the father's girlfriend, who had 3 daughters of her own. At this time, there is reliable information that CPS received frequent reports from Thomas's school of a boy troubled and hungry, sometimes with physical bruises and cuts. School personnel are mandated reporters of such information. Reportedly, CPS helped convince the court to hand down an order of protection requiring that the father refrain from abusing the boy who had autism, along with an order for CPS to supervise the household, meaning regular and sometimes unannounced visits, and otherwise to monitor the custodial home. This home supervision obligates CPS to petition the court to reopen the case if they discover that any risk to the child might reoccur. Thus, did Supreme Court in Nassau County and Family Court in Suffolk County put in motion a plan for the boy's care and custody that all parties agreed upon, though the biological mother objected, as she said, without success. Okay, now these are the parents, the father and the girlfriend of the boy. I'll let you guys drink that in for just a second. Give me 1 second here. What's up, Burnt Toast? Good to see you. Sorry guys, I had to step off. I got this cold. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's COVID. I don't know what the hell, because this has been like a week. And I didn't even have the sniffles before, or a cough. Now I got sniffles and a cough, and it's weird. It's just taking all these crazy tolls on me. So months after that, the boy tragically and outrageously died of hypothermia when allegedly forced by the father and his girlfriend to sleep overnight without heat or even blankets in a freezing garage. The father and his girlfriend have been indicted on murder charges in the boy's death and to date are held without bail. The horror of this episode roused the county executive to issue his own order to the Department of Social Services to investigate how its own CPS performed or failed to perform in this tragedy. The State Office of Children and Family Services itself, a regulatory agency with authority over each county CPS, will also perform its own separate probe. The Suffolk DA's office will investigate, and a deputy county executive and county legislator's deputy presiding will review CPS handling of cases of children with autism in Suffolk. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know much, but I feel like it shouldn't just be children with autism that the focus is on here. I understand there should be definitely some training involved when dealing with children on the spectrum. I would assume so. I would think that that's the most responsible thing to do is to actually have people specialized working for family services to be prepared, to be able to be trained and prepared to handle a child with those types of special needs. So with all these investigations, There are some relevant and compelling questions that no one yet seems to be asking, but need to be asked. Virtually all news coverage and hearings just held by the county legislators of both Nassau and Suffolk have made their respective CPS agencies the target. A glaring question about CPS is the timing of their filing of petitions alleging severe abuse of Thomas and his siblings and 3 other children. So it's not just Thomas here. So there was 3 other kids that were living with these people and suffering abuse. It just so happens that Thomas was the one who actually died. Why were these CPS petitions filed after the boy's death and the father's and girlfriend's arrest? And there are other directions these investigations should take. First, every child and family court proceeding, according to the NYS Family Court Act, is to be represented by an attorney. What has been the role of the attorney for Thomas? What has been the role for the attorney for Thomas? Sorry. Did he recommend to the family court judge that the father be awarded custody? Or what did he base his recommendation? Did the attorney examine the home environment and the history of the father? Did he ever communicate with the boy's mother prior to making any recommendation? Was this attorney convinced of the sufficiency of that order of protection handed down in 2018, requiring that both parents refrain from harmful behaviors towards the boy? What were the child's attorney interactions with CPS? Now, guys, just to sum up what I'm reading right here, if all of these questions were asked, okay, if all of these questions were asked, why wasn't the action to just take the children out of that environment? A lot of possible reasons for that. The one that sticks to me is they just don't have they don't have it in the city budget to just place every kid in the system. Because what happens is what you have to understand, make no mistake, people, every child that is in the state's custody, well, that's like anybody else taking a child. That child costs money to raise. It costs money to clothe. It costs money to feed. It costs money to put a roof over its head, right? Over his or her head. It costs money to do that. That is another mouth to feed. The state doesn't want another mouth to feed, just like any average person does not want another mouth to feed as far as taking in someone in their home. Most people would prefer not to do that, even if it's a child. So the state's no different, okay? It's somebody's job to monitor the state's budget and handle the spending and manage the income versus what they spend, right? I mean, so when we're thinking about it in terms like that, it's kind of practical. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's kind of practical to assume that this is what's going on here. So now what I was told at one point, because I had to talk to, I actually asked a girl I used to date who is actually an SVU detective in Georgia. I won't say what county, but in Georgia. And she told me that child services will not take in a child unless they absolutely have to, because of that reason, because they're really another mouth to feed. They'll put that child with a friend of the family if it's suitable. That's what they'll do. So when you're thinking about why didn't they just take the child out of the home, I agree with you. But this is probably why. This is the most likely reason why. But I do believe that as soon as there was abuse, you need to take that child out of that home, period. That should be a default decision right there. Not, hey, you got to promise not to hurt your kid anymore. We're going to be watching you. You're still risking that child's safety. So this is where I believe CPS failed this child. So next to consider is a resource available to any court. A home study, aka a 1034 investigation, usually performed at the court's direction prior to a custody decision by the County Department of Probation or by CPS. A home study is just that. It guides the court, as well as CPS and the attorney for the child, in deciding if the home situation and background of a potential custodian pose any risk for the child's health and safety. Now, for those of you who don't know, an attorney for a child, anybody who represents the child, many times they're known as a guardian ad litem. And their job is basically to represent the child in court, because a child obviously can't know how to actually state their case in front of a judge and practice law. Obviously, if anybody in these situations needs representation, it's definitely a child, and a child absolutely has the right to have that. And so I'm actually glad that this exists, because even still, if I were fighting for my child, which I have been in that position, if I were fighting for my child, well, I would definitely want someone on our side who understands how the system works for a kid and can speak up on my kid's rights, on behalf of my child's rights. Now, I had an attorney, so my son did not have a guardian ad litem, but to me, I'm just really glad that no matter what happens, a child is, in theory, always going to be looked out for. That's what that's designed to do. But the issue here is that didn't take place here. It's also important to ask what kind of reports during their supervision of this home did CPS receive from others about the boy's state of mind, nutrition, appearance, performance at school, and any comments he might have made about home. School personnel receive training on signs of child abuse in their students. At the same time, CPS is obligated to perform an immediate investigation of new reports of other child abuse and neglect, and receives 9,000 such reports each year. According to sources in Suffolk Department of Social Services, 150 of Suffolk's total complement of 171 CPS caseworkers devote almost all their working hours tracking down such new reports, almost 75% of which are determined to be entirely unfounded. Think about that. Now, I want to focus on that real quick. So, almost 75% of reports to CPS, Child Services, almost 75%, and this is just in Suffolk County, but I'm sure it's similar anywhere else. 75% turn out to be unfounded. 75%. That's 3/4 of all cases. 3/4 of all reported cases in Suffolk County of child abuse or child neglect or anything like that turns out to be unfounded. This is where CPS caseworkers' workload or caseload is so important. The state recommend caseload for the CPS caseworker is approximately 14 to 16 active cases. The average of Suffolk CPS, again, according to Suffolk Department of Social Services, is about 17 to 19, down from even higher averages at the time. The courts were dealing with the parents' divorce and custody issues, but these numbers are deceiving, as neglect and abuse cases greatly vary in intensity and time expended to monitor them. So right there, they're saying, I want to reiterate this point right here that I just read. The average caseload for the Suffolk County caseworker is 14 to 16 active cases. That's 14 to 16 cases that they're taking on at the exact same time, when 75% of these turn out to be unfounded. Now, that's something to explore. Are they unfounded because are many of them unfounded because the CPS workers are doing what the CPS workers in the Gabriel Fernandez case did, which was just pretend to follow up. They just go, well, it's probably nothing anyway. The kid's probably fine. And then they want to go home for the day. And then they write out these fake reports without even going to visit these households. So if you just think about that, and then you have people that are calling CPS just out of spite to hurt another YouTube creator or a member of a YouTube community. You see what I'm saying, people? Like, if you're this type of person and you support this sort of thing, please wake up. Please wake up, because this is not okay. Because you have a little boy. This little boy, I see nothing but innocence in his eyes. I see him trying to be happy despite everything that he went through. And he could have been helped. He should have been removed from that home. But these people are overworked and under-budgeted. These people are overworked and under-budgeted. All right, hold on. I lost my place here, but got it. Okay, so this leads to a very salient question. I never heard that word before. I apologize, guys. Is Suffolk County making CPS a budget priority, allowing enough CPS caseworkers to be hired and trained? Or are they allowing enough CPS caseworkers to be hired and trained? The county's endless financial mess, owing to extravagant budgets, chiefly for its top-heavy police department, causes perennial gaps in the CPS budget that deserve scrutiny. And then there are the judges, 2 from Nassau and 3 from Suffolk. It is they who make the ultimate decisions. Does a divorce action started in 2016 really have to take so long, given that New York is a no-fault divorce jurisdiction? And even if the adults carry on the court battles for years, what priority did the judges give the welfare of the children in that kind of prolonged litigation? The state agency for oversight of all judges, known as the Office of Court Administration, operates in an elusive, hidden world. If OCA ever chooses to investigate a judge, whether the personal misconduct or, as here, for what may well have been indefensibly careless decisions, the Office of Court Administration investigates a judge secretly. Even the judge may be aware that such a review is underway, and OCA doesn't even have to make its findings known. Does this inevitably contribute to the culture of blissful detachment among our judiciary? Judges in New York, by and large, are dedicated and fair. But when such a shocking tragedy occurs with young Thomas, and there are years of court involvement, how can an investigation of what happened to be complete without the judges being held accountable? Will the bureaucrats in the Office of Court Administration choose to get involved in their characteristically strange and mysterious ways? Another compelling question: Thomas's biological mother is reported to have received custody of his 2 brothers, but only after he met his tragic end. Why is she a suitable custodian for her children now, but apparently not earlier, when she repeatedly sought custody of the 3 boys from the court and was repeatedly denied? A number of further questions begs to answer, and unfortunately, they cannot all be listed. If, however, those engaged in these investigations choose to ask some of the questions that have been suggested here, it might well lead to saving a neglected or abused child in the future. So guys, I mean, if that's not something that should be eye-opening, I mean, that is just one area in this country. On the other side of the country, Gabriel Fernandez died for the same reasons. This child was tortured.
You booked a sunny Verbo ski chalet with endless views of snow-covered.
In Grays Harbor County, the parents of missing 5-year-old Oakley Carlson will be in court today.
The two are charged with endangering one of their children. They have not been charged in the search for missing Oakley. Investigators believe she was last seen alive on February 10th. According to court documents, her disappearance was reported by her principal after one of her siblings told her Oakley was, quote, no more. The search has involved multiple departments, including the FBI, but last month, detectives told us that the case is still open. They are finished searching the family house and property.
Before Oakley disappeared, she lived with a foster family for over 2 years. And during that time, they said there were multiple red flags while she was in their care.
They disagreed, of course, with the state's decision to send her back to her biological parents' home. This morning, Oakley's former foster mother, Jamie Jo Hiles, is back live with us on King 5 Mornings. Thanks for being up with us this morning. You played a big part in the search effort and now the push for more laws to protect foster children. Since we last spoke with you, Jamie, we've seen the hashtag Oakley's Law trending as well. What can you tell us about all this? Give us an update.
Well, good morning, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Basically, like I have some people in the community that are just really fighting hard to make sure that a change happens in Oakley's honor. So there are 2 people in our community that have started a petition on change.org. It's since closed. It garnered almost 7,000 signatures. And in an effort to just make sure that legislature knows that this should never happen to another child. Oakley is definitely on Twitter too, like as far as trending. If you just type in her name, there's tons of people from all across the United States that are really supporting her. And
this child is clearly loved.
Have you been able to speak with the biological family at all? The grandparents? Have you been in any communication with them?
No, I have not.
And if you were able to speak with them, what would you say?
I think we just need to do everything we can to find Oakley. Like, what can we do? What can we, like, maybe like there's things that I don't know that she liked to do as far as like maybe where they went, or maybe there's just things as far as like places. I'm not sure. I think that I would just want to ramp up anything we can do to find Oakley.
Have you tried to reach out to the biological family at all? Or are they just shutting you out?
No, I think ever since Oakley was returned to her biological family, it's just been kind of a, almost a respect their privacy type thing. So I never wanted to reach out.
Look at the meth, bro, on these people's faces. Look at where they pick at their skin. Because make no mistake, at least one of them tested positive for methamphetamine.
When Oakley was with them, to like not confuse her, but I just didn't want to traumatize Oakley by her seeing me or like hearing about me. So I kind of just cut that off pretty quickly.
Okay. What are you hoping comes out of this at this point in the process?
I really, at this point, we're a month in, I really just want answers. That's the thing that it's difficult to go to bed at night sometimes when I just think about like, where is she? What has happened to her? And so if I could have resolution or have some kind of like idea of what's happening, I think that would be the best for my husband and myself. But that's kind of what I just want that. And then of course I want justice for Oakley. Like I think that a lot of people in our community are really angry about everything with DCYF and the parents. And I think that there needs some, there needs some change to happen.
Do you think enough is being done right now to search for Oakley?
Yes, I fully trust our law enforcement. I know that I have been in contact with the detective since the day that Oakley was announced missing. I bet you every week I send him a text message just to kind of say like, hey, like, is there any new updates? And I know that he can't tell me a lot because I'm not like part of this case, but he's so kind and he always is willing to text either my husband or myself back and say like, hey, we don't have any information right now, or hey, we have some things, but just we're working every single day on this. So I do believe that they are doing the absolute best they can to look for her.
You know, you've been posting on social media a lot of new pictures and video of young Oakley. She's such a beautiful girl. We haven't spoken with you since Christmas, since the holidays. What was it like knowing all that this is happening and knowing that Oakley is still missing?
Christmas is one of my favorite holidays. But I think the thing that was probably the most like different for me is the snow. Like Oakley loves snow. And so I think that was kind of a bummer, especially that it snowed, on Christmas Day and we had all that snow. I know that she would have just loved it. And so I wasn't even excited that it snowed. Normally I would be out in it and I'd be playing in it. And I just wasn't even able to really enjoy that because it's just sad knowing that she wasn't here with me to experience that.
Jamie Jo Hiles, thank you so much for joining us once again here on King 5 Mornings to talk about what you're going through. We appreciate your perspective. And again, we'll be following this story very closely as her parents are going to be in court today.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Now, that was 2 years ago, guys. That was 2 years ago, or 2 weeks ago. 2 years ago, Jesus. 2 weeks ago. Sorry about that. Now I have the live stream that I did on Oakley Carlson pinned at the top of the chat. So if you get a chance, check it out. So, because that's not what this live is about. But if you want more information on Oakley's case, I covered that and it's pinned in the chat. So go ahead and check that out when you get a chance, if you're interested in more detailed information on poor Oakley Carlson, who's still missing right now. So when you see things like this, right? CPS making the decision. Now, Oakley, I will say this much. Oakley was loved in a foster home. She was taking dance classes. She was happy. You could tell. And for whatever reason, Child Services put Oakley back in the custody of her natural parents without vetting them properly, without inspecting their home properly, without making sure. Now, one theory is, what you have to understand is Oakley's biological dad is an ex-cop. So it's possible that he has some connections within the system. He knows court officers. He's dealt with family services as a cop many times. And here you have an ex-cop who was kicked off the force, and now he's a drug addict. And so that might have something to do. But right there, that is just another example of how the system can be corrupt, not just negligent, but corrupt. So what I plead with you channels or members of the community, whether you're in the drama community, whether you're in the crime community, especially if you're in the crime community, you should absolutely know better. But you call yourself someone who cares about children, cares about what happens to kids. You call yourselves advocates for kids. So instead of going and being spiteful and shitty and calling CPS on a member of this community, well, why don't you actually take your bullhorn, take whatever you use to make noise, and actually go and demand answers from Child Services as to why these children are being failed. Direct your energy properly. Don't waste resources, because obviously the resources are being wasted. 75%, just in Suffolk County, 75% of those cases prove to be unfounded. You're contributing to that. Any of you assholes that are going around and calling CPS on people because you're so fucking concerned, why don't you consider just educate yourself for 5 minutes as to cases where CPS failed children who are being actually abused and neglected? Not because you heard a rumor that somebody smoked weed around their kid once. I don't want to hear that shit. There are kids that are freezing to death in a garage because they're being punished, because maybe they spilt their food on the floor. There are kids that are being put with their natural parents without checking on them and following up to make sure that that environment is safe for that child. There are judges making decisions to do this. And just because you disagree with somebody on a case, that's somebody's actual life, by the way, where there are children actually being affected. So what you want to do, your logic, is to waste more resources and take away from a child that actually needs help. The shit that I just read, you're contributing to that. You're part of the problem, literally part of the problem. So, I mean, and then you can sit up there on a high horse and act like you're doing some good. Like, but all you had to do, my ignorant ass was able to just simply pull this up and give you a shining example of why what you do and what you seem to be justified in doing is one of the shittiest things you could possibly do. Not just to somebody else, but what you're doing is you're fucking it up for every other kid that needs help. You're fucking with a system that's already broken, and you're breaking it more. And I mean, it doesn't matter what community you're in, man. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because there are those of us that are actually trying to do something positive with our platforms. There are those of us that are trying to do that. I'm not asking you to like me. I'm not asking you to subscribe and watch. I'm asking you to just use your common fucking sense and think 2 steps ahead of one of these shitty, spiteful decisions that you make. That's all I'm asking you to do. Just think 2 steps ahead. How is this going to affect? Can this affect someone in a negative way? Besides me getting satisfaction from calling CPS on somebody because I don't like their opinion, or I don't like that they're calling me out on my bullshit, just think 2 steps ahead. Understand, take a deep breath, realize that you refer to yourself as a child advocate, and ask yourself if what you're doing is contributing to the advocacy of children. Simple. It's not hard. It's not hard in the slightest bit. All you got to do is just think 2 steps ahead. Anybody who goes that low to call CPS on somebody is on my shit list. No doubt about it. Like, because of this. This is something that I've been talking about on this channel for God knows how long. People think that I was involved in the Sophie Long case because of the drama. No. Pay attention. Pay attention. The entire purpose of me talking about that was to address what I believe to be a broken system. So, and I went over many examples. I went over transcripts of that case. I went over affidavits. I went over recorded phone calls from corrupt police officers. And I can't help it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to do what I can. I'm so grateful that I have 199 people in this chat right now watching this. I'm so grateful. But at the same time, I'm also a little disappointed. I'm not going to lie. Not because I want the views and the clicks and blah, blah, blah. It's because it's sad to me that me explaining in detail why this behavior is so fucked up, to me, that's much more valuable information than me sitting here and cracking jokes about Bullhorn Boob and Molly Golightly and talking shit about them. Well-deserved shit, by the way. Well-deserved. I don't regret a second of it. And I'm going to continue to do it. Make no mistake about that. I'm just trying to make the point that it's sad to me that that is found, that is a priority for a lot of people over actually getting educated on something that's a serious problem for everyone's kids. Every one of you people with kids. You never know what's going to happen where you need the system to work in your kid's favor. You have no idea. You don't know what's going to happen. Nobody ever does. And to just like, because I mean, when you swat people, it's the same as swatting as far as reasons why it's shitty. Now, when you swat people, that's different because that person can get shot. Somebody could get shot. A cop could get shot. Somebody who's not breaking the law whatsoever and they're exercising their Second Amendment right, and then somebody, they don't know who it is, busts in their door. Their instinct is going to be to grab their gun. And that's going to that could either get them shot or they could end up shooting a police officer just responding to a call and doing their job. A police officer with a family. But besides that, you're wasting resources. There are somebody out there that needs help, that needs a fast, quick response from a police officer because they're actually being hurt and they need law enforcement's help. But you're taking away from that. Just like calling, I mean, think about that. 75% just in that county, 75% of those calls turn out to be unfounded. Why would you contribute to that? Why in blue perfect fucking hell would you want to contribute to that and be part of that issue instead of trying to be part of that solution? I just can't. And these people who do this, they act like they're heroes. They act like they're heroes, like they're doing some good. Well, they support people who are murderers, even though I don't have any proof that they did anything wrong. But you know, I just don't like them. That's the logic all the time. At the end of the day, that's what I keep hearing from Big Juicy, Dumpy Dump. I keep hearing that from her. I keep hearing the same shit from Bullhorn Boob. I keep hearing the same thing. Well, you know, the stuff that we know about them, I just don't like them. I don't approve of their lifestyle. I don't approve of the way they live. Motherfucker, it's not your place to approve of how they live. That's not your place. That's not your place. Who the fuck is you? pill popping, man beating, coke snorting, and all of a sudden you are the expert as to what a child needs? Come on, man. Yeah, I don't like how they cut their hair. Dumpster clips. I don't like how they cut her hair. Gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck what you think about somebody's haircut. Again, who the fuck is you to approve or disapprove of somebody's haircut? Parent wants to shave their kid's head, they shave their kid's head. So what? It's none of your fucking business. What's up, Caleb? Tyler Barris got 20 years for swatting someone over Xbox, and police killed the homeowner after the homeowner thought someone was breaking into their home. Of course, it's a perfect example of what I was just saying. Perfect example of everything I was just saying. I mean, I realize I'm not going to change anything, man. You know what I mean? Like, I realize that. I know I'm a bit of an idealist, but, and I'm a little naive, but I feel like I got to try. Why don't we all try? That's all I'm saying. BHB said today that she knows someone is a sexual deviant. I was like, what? That she was saying CPS needs to investigate. She is the reason the system is clogged with false report. Right there. Absolutely. Absolutely. Exactly, Irish fan. Exactly. Just think about this. When you make a bogus call, a child that really needs help is ignored. Yeah, man. That's the issue, dude. That's the issue. Like, why? All you have to do is just think about it. Just use your brain for 2 seconds. Like, I don't understand this bullhorn boob. I don't get what is going on with her brain, dude. Like, because I do believe. I think that I think that Molly Golightly is perfectly aware of everything. She just chose to get the negative publicity. She was okay with it. It was funny because somebody in Bert Toast chat on her panel last night was like, well, she's a master marketer. She's a master marketer. I'm like, no, she's not, because a master marketer understands the concept that they work off of the concept of supply and demand. Well, guess what? There was a demand for a product that she never delivered. A master marketer would have delivered that product. Would they not have? So, yeah, absolutely. What I think she did has got to be illegal. I don't know if it's considered fraud, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. But what I do know is that she promised people and asked them for money, asked them literally to fund something that they did not do. They asked their audience to fund them to go to Tennessee. Exactly, Bertos. It definitely requires reading comprehension. Step 1, by the way. But yeah, at least step 2 is fucking deliver a product. So that your customers come back, so they don't drop your numbers. Like, I mean, come on, dude. Like, deliver the product. You promised the product, deliver it. And like I said many times, if she turned out to actually have been doing something productive, I would have supported her. I would have absolutely supported her. If she was going around, she got law enforcement's cooperation to actually ask some questions and worked with them and worked alongside them, like Cam and Allie, they didn't work alongside with law enforcement, but what they did do was they hired professionals. private investigators, former law enforcement officers, to make sure that whatever they discover, they're not walking on a potential crime scene, that they're not tampering with any evidence. That's what they did. They went, and then what happens? They want to call CPS on Cam and Allie because they did something the right way. What? It makes absolutely no sense. Stupid, dude. People drive me crazy, man, with their fucking dumbness. Like, seriously, like it really, really irritates me. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. All right. All right. So there's the link in chat if anybody wants to come up. Now the link that I have pinned, in the chat is the live stream I did on Oakley Carlson. That has a lot more information as far as the details of that case. So make sure to catch that. But I'm gonna open the panel, see if anybody has any stories they want to share, any information or any insight they want to add to everything that I was just talking about. Right. Yeah, exactly. Dumpster clips. Exactly. I mean, it's just something that I can't wrap my head around that. I can't wrap my head around the justification behind calling CPS, on somebody just because of spite. Yo, did anybody catch Benny's live earlier? He was live for a long time, man, but there was he was going over this dude. Now I stay away from that shit because that's all hearsay and rumors. That just distracts me. The stuff about like Hunter and his mom, and to me that's it's just nobody's stories are consistent in that. And then you've got Hunter's dad who Benny was covering, and I was like, what the fuck am I watching, man? I mean, not saying nothing against Benny, because Benny was handling it. I mean, he was going over what Hunter's dad was like he was just basically trying to insert himself in all of this. It was really pathetic. And like he was acting, he was like hamming it up for the camera. Dude had like he had a little mustache that would go hand in hand with a panel van, and you know what I mean? Like it was just a weird dude. And then at one point he says that all of his teeth fell out because he refused to brush them. De verdad, cochino. De verdad. Dude, come on. Like all of my teeth fell out because I refused to brush them is what he said. And Benny got up and went and brushed his teeth. I went and got up and brushed my teeth too. I was just like, God damn, just hearing somebody say that makes me want to go brush my teeth. It was so weird. It was so bizarre. But all that shit to me, guys, is distraction. You know, the reason why I'm bringing that up is just it's all distraction. Like that's more hearsay. I mean, even Don Wells and Candace Bly were in his chat, and Benny would call them up every now and again to disprove or you know what I mean. And they were just like, dude, I don't know why this guy feels like he's inserting himself in this shit. He has nothing to do with anything in this case. You know, like Don was like saying, I don't know what the hell this dude's talking about. I mean, and that's the sort of thing that's just so fucking distracting when it comes to these cases. Like, there's so many things that a case like this can inspire you to want to make yourself aware of, you know? Like, why not just take time to educate yourself on CPS before you use it to just attack someone? Why not educate yourself on it? You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy. This same shit happened with the Watts case. People were swatting each other. And it's like, dude, first of all, that case is closed. Y'all don't even know those people. You know what I'm saying? That case is closed, dude. Like, the dude pled guilty and all hell broke loose. It had the exact opposite. Everybody started acting a fool, even me. Everybody started acting a fool. It was seeing that and seeing how I behaved in one instance that made me go, you know what? I'm going to fucking dedicate my channel for what's going on now 3 years to calling out shit like this. It's the only right thing that I can think of to do. Like, it's gross. You know what I'm saying? Like, why not just try to educate yourself on things that are like, it's so simple. Like, if you did any research on this case, you're calling yourself a true crime channel and you're a drama channel, but you're calling yourself a true crime channel and you did no research on this case at all. Because if you had done research and if you actually cared about Summer, then you would have heard Sheriff Ronnie Lawson numerous times at the beginning of all of this. You would have heard Sheriff Ronnie Lawson and the spokesperson for the TBI, which her name escapes me, but they would have said that you would have heard them say, hey, what we ask of the public because that question is always asked, what can those of us in the public do to help your case, to help you, to help find Summer? Well, if you see something, call 1-800-TBI find. Call 1-800-TBI find if you see something that's credible, and then report it. That's the best thing that you could possibly do. Other than that, no, you can't help us on the search because the terrain is too challenging and we don't want to end up having to look for somebody else besides Summer. We want to be able to focus all of our energy on finding Summer. We don't want anybody getting hurt. You would have heard them say that. You would have also heard them say, please be careful spreading misinformation on social media. That doesn't help us either. So the Boob Gang, who's actually working with law enforcement, supposedly, after we've actually heard statements coming from both Sheriff Ronnie Lawson and the TBI saying they're not helping at all. Not at all. They're not doing anything that's helpful. What's up, Hillbilly Nitro USA? All right, I guess nobody wants to come up here. Yeah. I mean, and then TBI has to like remind you. They made such a ruckus here. We have no idea. We honestly don't know. Like, just like we don't know the details of what law enforcement knows as far as the Summer Wells case and what the search is producing. As much as we don't know that, we also don't know what kind of damage these idiots caused when they came out here. Think about that. We don't have any idea. But it's quite possible that they caused irreparable damage to their case by coming out here and doing what they did. I can't wait. Like, I really hope that Robin takes action. I really, 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 really hope so. Here, I'll drop the link in chat again. Like, I'm dying for that. I can't wait to find out that there's at least civil action being taken against Molly Golightly and Bullhorn Betty. I can't wait to find out. I agree with you, Lori Kennedy. I do think that they should be charged with something. Because I don't think Don and Candace are the type to actually go out and get a lawyer and sue Molly Golightly. And I think Molly Golightly knew this, and she took full advantage of it. I think she knew this, and she took full advantage of it. Let's see, dumpster clips. What are you saying here? That's like Betty saying FBI had Brian's notebook with a confession this whole time and waited 3 months to close it. I'm calling and complaining. Wow, I'm calling and complaining. I mean, she's a Karen. She's a fucking Karen. Dude, she's more of a Karen than Critical K was a Karen, and Critical K's name is Karen. Crazy. I didn't think it was possible to top her as a Karen. I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think it was possible in the slice bit. And now here we are, like, and she's talking about complaining because, I mean, why do you think that you're entitled to law enforcement information? You're not entitled to anything. That's a courtesy. That's a public courtesy for them to release that information. They don't have to release the contents of that journal to you. They don't. Or to us. Now, I totally think that, I mean, and everybody's, not everybody, but people are making such a big deal, like, oh, we have confirmation Brian killed Gabby. We know Brian killed Gabby. We know that. Everything screams that he did it. I mean, now we have the confirmation with a confession, sure. And to say, oh my God, it's taken 3 months to close the case. Dude, it takes time. That's called being thorough. That's called due process. It's called being thorough. We want to make sure there are no more aspects to this case that are going to come up later. What's up, Crime Story? Yeah, press badge. Dude, any asshole can order that press badge. It's like $150 fee, like an initial like application fee or whatever, a processing fee, and then it's like $40 a year after that. Any asshole can get one of those. What's up, Rob's Rules? Good to see you, man. Anybody can get one of those. Like, I'm tempted to get one just to show how easy it is. Like, I got an 8th grade education, people. I mean, technically I got a GED, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'd bet you anything I could get one of those. I'm not paying $40 a year for some shit that I'm not going to use. I'm not an investigator. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am not an investigator. I'm not going to pretend to be one. Like, that's part of the problem. Ula S, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate that. Like, these people are definitely not investigators. Like, this woman talks out of her ass so much. None of what she says adds up to make any sense. None of it. And people are smartening up to it, though. People are definitely smartening up to it. That's okay, Pendar. We'll just make this a quick early one because I think I've said everything that I have to say too. Um, but man, I'm really grateful that you guys logged on, man, and let me share this information with you because I think it's really important. So I would encourage you guys to do your own homework on this stuff and help spread that information because right now, um, I'd really like to focus on putting pressure on, putting more public attention, creating more public attention on how broken the system is and how it's failing our kids and how it's just not acceptable. Not even in one case, it's not acceptable to fail these kids, man. You know, this system is designed to protect them. So, and kids are hope. That's what children are. When you think about what they are and why they're important, they're innocent and they're hope. You know, they hold the future of our planet in their hands. It's our responsibility as the adults in their lives to take care of them. It's our responsibility to make sure that they're okay. Whether we can do it ourselves or not, that's what that system exists for. Maybe you can't do it yourself and you need the system's help. There's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. But we need to make sure that that fail-safe is actually that. It's a fail-safe, and it's up to us to make sure that that's the case. So we have to spread all this information as much as we possibly can, people. So I'm really, really grateful that you guys took the time to sit here and listen to this, because it's really important to me to spread this information. But yeah, you guys have been amazing, and I really appreciate all of you. I appreciate all your support. And I'm going to continue to try to find topics like this to go over. But yeah, Mr. Harlan was to come up, but I'm still not feeling great, so I think I'm going to take advantage and end this early. But again, I love you guys, and we will do this again very soon, my friends.